Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into a fascinating topic. Does money make you a good person or a bad person? It's a question philosophers have debated for centuries, and one that we grapple with on a personal level too. Is having a lot of money inherently corrupting? Or can it be a force for good in the world? The truth is, there's no easy answer. Money itself is morally neutral. It's a tool, like a hammer. You can use a hammer to build a house or to hurt someone. It all depends on the wielder. Let's explore this complex question together, examining how money can amplify our existing tendencies for better or for worse. We'll also look at the ways in which wealth can create new challenges and opportunities in our lives. Ultimately, I think you'll find that the relationship between money and morality is a lot more nuanced than we often give it credit for. So, let's start with a pretty straightforward idea. Money has this weird way of amplifying who you already are. Imagine someone who's naturally generous, someone who gets joy out of helping others. Now, imagine that person wins the lottery. Suddenly, they have the means to be even more generous, to make a real difference in the lives of others. They can donate to their favorite charities, support their communities, and help friends and family in need. Their generosity, which was already present, is magnified by their newfound wealth. Their generosity, which was always there, is really brought to the forefront by their wealth. But here's the catch. The same principle applies to less noble qualities. Imagine someone who's naturally inclined towards greed and selfishness. What happens when that person acquires a lot of money? Well, their selfish desires might grow out of control. They might become obsessed with accumulating even more wealth, even at the expense of others. They might develop a sense of entitlement, believing that they're somehow better than those who have less. Their greed, which was always there, is amplified by their wealth. It's like money acts as a kind of moral magnifying glass, intensifying our pre-existing tendencies, and that's why it's so important to remember that money itself isn't inherently good or bad. It's what we choose to do with it that matters. It's about recognizing the values we hold dear and making sure that our financial decisions align with those values. If we're committed to living a life of generosity and compassion, then having more money can simply give us more opportunities to act on those values. But if we're driven by greed and selfishness, then money can quickly become a corrupting force in our lives. The key takeaway here is that money doesn't change who we are, it reveals who we are. It shines a light on our deepest values and motivations, for better or for worse. Now let's talk about another tricky aspect of wealth, the entitlement trap. It's this insidious thing that can happen when people start to believe that their financial success somehow makes them superior to others. They might start to look down on those who have less, seeing them as lazy or undeserving. This sense of entitlement can manifest in all sorts of ways, from subtle snobbery to outright disdain for the less fortunate. And it can lead to some pretty negative behaviors. For example, entitled individuals might be less likely to empathize with others, to offer help, or to advocate for social justice. They might become more focused on preserving their own wealth and status, even if it means perpetuating systems of inequality. Now, it's important to note that not everyone who's wealthy falls into the entitlement trap. There are plenty of folks out there who use their wealth to make the world a better place, who are humble, generous, and committed to social good. But the trap is real, and it's something we all need to be aware of, especially if we find ourselves in positions of privilege. So, how do we avoid the entitlement trap? Well, I think it starts with cultivating a sense of gratitude. It's about recognizing that our financial success is often the result of a complex interplay of factors, many of which are outside of our control. It's about acknowledging the role that luck, circumstance, and the hard work of others have played in our lives. And it's about remembering that our worth as human beings is not determined by the size of our bank accounts. When we approach wealth with gratitude, we're less likely to fall into the trap of entitlement. We're more likely to see ourselves as part of a larger community, interconnected and interdependent. And we're more likely to use our resources to make a positive difference in the world. Chapter 3. Money as a force for good. Okay, so far we've talked about how money can amplify our existing tendencies and how it can sometimes lead to a sense of entitlement. But let's not forget that money can also be a powerful force for good in the world. Think about all the incredible things that are possible when people with financial resources are committed to making a difference. They can fund groundbreaking research, provide education and healthcare to underserved communities, and support organizations working to combat climate change and social injustice. They can use their platforms to raise awareness about important issues, to inspire others to action, and to advocate for systemic change. Throughout history, there have been countless examples of individuals who have used their wealth to make the world a better place. From Andrew Carnegie, who built libraries and funded educational institutions, to Bill and Melinda Gates, who have dedicated their fortune to global health and development, there's a long legacy of philanthropy and social impact driven by financial resources. And it's not just about the big names and the massive foundations. Every day, countless individuals use their money in small but meaningful ways to support causes they care about. They donate to local charities, volunteer their time, and make conscious consumer choices that align with their values. The point is, money can be a tool for positive change when it's used intentionally and thoughtfully. It can empower us to amplify our values, to create opportunities for others, and to leave the world a better place than we found it. So, let's not shy away from talking about the power of money to do good. Let's celebrate those who are using their wealth responsibly and inspire others to do the same. And let's remember that even small acts of generosity can have a ripple effect, creating a more just and equitable world for all. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts on whether money makes you a good person or a bad person in the comments below. Ultimately, the relationship between money and morality is complex. It's up to each of us to decide how we want to use our financial resources. Will we allow money to amplify our worst impulses, or will we use it to make a positive impact on the world? The choice is ours. Thanks again for joining the conversation.